Hey, all right, going to do a bowl lather today, and the shaver is going to be my Timeless 68 stainless steel with open comb. Handles this old blade really well. I've had soaking for several minutes. My B2 from Zenith. Really enjoying this brush this month. Put it back in the water. And my Nacet is the blade. And this little guy right here is my current count, so 192 prior to today. Going to be using, as always this month, Chiseled Face Midnight Stag. Yesterday I had quite a reaction with the family. I shaved right before going down and sitting next to my wife, and she's like, hey, let's snuggle and watch some TV. Well, she wasn't going to have any of that. It was pungent. Probably more due to the aftershave, but that's the way it is. And yes, I do have that today, the alcohol-based aftershave, the Splash. And I'm going to be using my bowl this time, Roger Quintero designed, that I've been using for so long. Really enjoy it. 3D printable, so the link is going to be in the description of the video in case you want to print your own and have access to a printer. I think we're ready to go. Let me splash my face with some water. I think a little bit less than 24 hours since my last shave. All right, and we're on the downhill side. Today is the 23rd, so just another week, roughly, of shaves in August. How about that? So, last time I did a bowl lather, I was doing 10 seconds. I was also doing that with face lather, did that yesterday. And that's a nice amount. It leaves another pass on the brush for me at the end of the shave. I can skimp and go a little cheaper with 7 seconds of loading. And that is enough to do the job, but it really gets kind of thin. It's adequate on the third pass, but why not? Soap is pretty cheap. And so why not add a few extra seconds and get just plenty of lather. And so today let's try out a bowl lather with 7 seconds, and let's see if it's as skimpy, or because it's a bowl and you're able to mix up everything beforehand, I think that 7 seconds is going to get me a nicer lather on that third pass than a face lather does, because you're just washing away so much good stuff and concentrated stuff on that first pass, and the second and third then get weaker and weaker. And that's my main gripe, one of my main gripes with face lathering. But it is fast, I'll tell you that. All right, so the soap strength is weakening just a little bit from the very beginning, or maybe I'm getting used to it. I don't know. All right, so as my usual custom, I'm going to shake out a lot of let's go back to my normal method, which is shaking out most of the water out of the brush. All right, so then we're going to do a 7-second load, and we'll start right there at 25 on the mark there. So we'll go to 32, and there we go, 7 seconds. Now I usually do rinsing out the threads around my tub here. I usually have been having a little wetter of a brush, and so who knows, that might make a difference. Now, if you were to set that soap aside and not use it for a month, that might be very different. 7 seconds may not be near enough at all, but right now I believe it's carrying a little bit of moisture from shave to shave, just because of the loading and stuff. And so 15 seconds may be what you have to do if it's been sitting idle for a month or something like that. Already we're getting a nice bit of lather. Okay, I think we're kind of integrated a good bit, so let us switch to grabbing my syringe to be able to add in water. You can just drip it if you want, but I I shake out my brush so much that it would take forever. A lot of times I have to add 3 teaspoons to a soap to get the lather to the final point. So that would be tons and tons of dripping with the fingertips like you see some guys out there. Now the reason they can do that usually is because you can start with more water in your brush. You know, maybe they take it out of the water and only shake it twice, whereas I shake it a lot more. Okay. It's been so long. I've been brush lathering, face lathering with this, or doing the Marco method, which includes a lot of water on your brush. And so it's been a while since I've actually done my method where its brush starts out a little drier. So I can't remember quite how much water I'll be using. And once it looks integrated, I'll add another ½ teaspoon. Obviously, if you don't want to go the route of the syringe, one way to go is to turn on a slight trickle of water on your tap there. Just start mixing. Whenever it looks like it's matching up, just stick it under the trickle, stick your bowl under the trickle for a minute, and then get back at it. And then just stop when it looks right. This is looking really good, and it's definitely going to be plenty of lather. How about that? 7 seconds. Let's pull it down and see how it behaves. There's a little bit of stretch before it dropped. A little bit of a peak there. See what kind of stretch we get. Not bad, not bad. I think we're almost there. Yeah, plenty of lather. Wow. That's why I record how many seconds I load with. I mean, you can pick your own method. You can record the number of swirls you do, something like that. But otherwise, I mean, how are you going to know how... I mean, you can just keep reducing your time. If you make a record of it, you can keep reducing it. And then you can find out, wow, that 30-second load is just total overkill. And I got plenty of lather to do the job here. Let's add just a little bit more. I think maybe we'll go with that. So that would be 3 teaspoons, it looks like. Yeah, 3 teaspoons added. Lightly wet brush is what I started out with. Most of the water shaken out. 7-second load. There we go. I think that's kind of what we're going for here. It's definitely not too thick. I'm sorry, not too thin. Possible I may add more water during the shave. All right, another splash on my face. And let's begin. Oh, do we have a... You know, this is a brush that's been used a good many times, but I'm not really concerned about bristle loss until maybe 60 uses or so. And then even then, if it's one every once in a while, I don't really think that's too big of a deal, especially when this brush is pretty cheap, pretty inexpensive, but it's a great deal, great bargain in my opinion. Medium backbone. Just does a good job. Soft bristles because the soft tips, because the tips have split pretty well. Yeah, see, this is definitely not too wet. We're just going to churn on face for just a little bit longer, make sure we get a nice slick layer put on, attached, glued on to the face. All this extra puff doesn't really matter too much. It's that thin layer that we put on the face that is the protector and the helps with the glide and the skin protection, that sort of thing. So from the looks of it, there is plenty enough for 3 passes in here, which means that with 7-second load being constant, bowl lathering can be much more efficient. Give you more lather for the same amount of load time. Oh, you know, I forgot to show you my blade here. Since I'm doing a marathon of kind of crazy high numbers, I want to make sure that you see that. Let's see, the X is on the bottom this time. Right over here. Part of it, at least. It started out as an X last year. Okay, so we put it in there. Now ready to go. A little tugging, but really not very much at all. You might even consider this no tugging, really. It's that, yeah, that's not tugging. That's just I mean, it's not cutting through them like butter. I guess we could say this just a little bit of blade feel. So, isn't that crazy that a 190, now 193 use razor blade can do that, huh? Very good. Rinse. And now we go back and grab a little lather from the bowl. Happy Friday. I just like the feel of the brush. I didn't really have to do as much scrubbing since we already did that on the first pass. Mainly cross grain on my face here. It's a convex surface rather, and so it's pretty easy to get those hairs cut really nicely no matter what I do. I would venture to say most guys, the neck is the real problem area. Just keep working at it. Maybe you'll find some the directions to directional strokes for your razor there that give you the best results. Took me a while. So after 2 passes now, I have a reasonable shave, and I could walk away if I wanted to. But let's do 3, and that's pretty remarkable really for an old blade like this, one with high use. And look, I've just got enough lather for my 3rd pass, and I've still got enough for 1 or 2 passes left, and that's 7 seconds of loading, and that's a lot better lather use than the face lathering, because so much of that goes down the tubes after the first pass, whereas here it's waiting for me in the bowl. And so after working my face so much on that first application of lather, that has rewarded me with a nice slick shaving surface. And that's one of the reasons I got such a good, and now it just feels great. Again, cross grain on my face. I think one of the secrets to me being able to go so far with one blade is that I really like wet lathers. I need to get them really slick. And I think that protection and that kind of lubrication, and it makes total sense, right? Extra lubrication between the blade and the skin results in more or less wear on the blade edge. Wouldn't that be interesting? And this is totally out there. What if the wear from the surface of the skin is what ages blades more than the hairs that are cut? I don't know. Could that be true? If people used lathers that are a little too dry, I wonder if the skin wears the blade out more than the actual hair, the cutting of the hairs does. All right, so that's 3 passes. Nice result. I don't think I see any length in any of my hairs right here in my trouble spot. I see the tips, maybe 1 or 2 have some length, but that looks good. Really happy with that. So now let's throw on the splash. And the alcohol splash can kind of tell you sometimes how you did with your shave. If you had a rough shave where you kind of damaged your skin layer a little too much, you'll get some stinging. Obviously, if you have a cut, you'll get a little bit of stinging. I don't get anything. Good technique today. And again, that smoothed out blade, it's nuts. It is still able to give a good cut and cut closely, but it generally has a hard time roughing up my skin. So it's a really nice little balanced area, that blade performance that most blades should really kind of try to achieve. And so do yourself a favor, if you've never tried pushing a blade really far, see what happens if you do. You might end up in a smooth place like this where you get close shaves, but nice face protection too. All right, I'm getting used to the cooling agent, the menthol. I don't really enjoy it still, but I'm getting used to it. I do like the smell afterwards. Rinsing out, venting my razor there with some space and air, since I am using this tomorrow, and then shaking it out. I'm not going to switch blades or razors, so I'll leave it in, and we're good. So 3 teaspoons of water was the mix for today. And like I showed you, probably about 2 passes. I bet I could get away with 2 passes of lather from this. At least 1.5, right? So, you know, thanks to the aftershave, I can't smell this at all. It's very strong. All right, I'm going to clean up. You know, here he is after I've stropped him on a towel, and I don't really think that he's changed very much over the last, 20 some odd uses. So he may be as bloomed as he's going to get. A little few stray guys around here, that's just fine, but the tips are already nice and split, so he may not change too much. All right, well, there we go. Can I go down to 5 seconds? And obviously not if I'm going to face lather, but it looks like it might work just fine if I was bowl lathering since I had some extra. I might try that tomorrow. So pretty good shave, really was. No tugging or anything like that really on the first pass. It just felt like blade feel, it wasn't tugging. So how about that, huh? I just worked that lather in really well. Prepared the skin, that sort of thing. I don't do any prep other than that, other than just throw in some water just to kind of soften up the hairs, start that process while I work on the lather. So, wow, yeah, that was a good one. Kind of back to my old method of making lather. And once you know that 3 teaspoons, is about what you need, then you can do it faster. Like I might add 2 teaspoons right in the beginning, and then start working on it, and then gradually add the rest. And so that'll shorten the time, lather making time. Some soaps can't take that. Some soaps can't have all that much water added at the front. Chiseled Face can, but some of them, a lot of them can too. Most of them can, but a few can't. All right, there we go. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I hope there was something here for you that helped you out. You take care. Have a good day.